Bear with me here. All right. I just want to say Shalom. And I want to say Yahweh to my power, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakaha Kodash, for allowing me to wake up in my right mind another day and to get ready to do another video in reference to the mark of the beast. So giving all praise, honor, and glories to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakaha Kodash. Double honors to the elders, apostles, and bishops of Great Millstone who still teach and rule well. Peace and salutations to the elect scattered amongst the four corners of the earth. This is the YouTube channel. The MOTB is here too, and disclosure of the wicked. The old fuckboy there, yeah? Now remember yesterday, which was June 18th, I did a video of, showing Mark Hamilton's Neo think how Esau Edom has created that tumult to come against the Most High and the Lord's truth, and us, the children of Israel, the Lord's children. All right, now this is some more stuff on the mark of the beast, which is the RFID chip spoken of in Revelation chapter 13, verses 16, which reads, well, first off, let me read Revelation 19 and 10. And I fell at his feet to worship him, and he said unto me, see thou do it not. Now this is when John saw that angel appear before him, he fell at his feet to worship him. And this is what the angel, which is his brother, says. The angels are our big brothers. See thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant and of thy brethren that had the testimony of Yahweh Shai. Now here's another important part. Well, Yahweh Shai is the name of who the world calls JC, but here's the point that I'm getting to. Worship God, for the testimony of Yahweh Shai is the spirit of prophecy. Now, Elder Apostle Tahar has been fortunate enough so far, and Lord willing, he will endure to the end. And all you other sincere brothers out there, myself included, he's been talking about the mark of the beast, the RFID chip, back since the mid-'80s. Now, he had an inkling that the mark of the beast was something physical back in the late 70s, but the Lord started supping with him and putting him on game about what the mark of the beast is. And he's been prophesying about it ever since. And here it is now at the door. Now this is Revelation chapter 13, verses 16. And he causeth all. Now those four words are important, because those four words in this verse alone works in tandem with Psalms the 83rd chapter about the heathen nations making a tumult and being confederate of coming against the Most High and trying to cut off the nation of Israel, us, from the Most High, and then bow down and worship Esau Edom, which is the so-called white man, beginning with the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. And that's what this video, I'm going to get into that, and he calls it all part, just here in a sec, Lord willing. And Lord willing, this will be edifying. Revelation chapter 16, verse 13, chapter 13, verse 16, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Now, you remember yesterday in the video I did on June 18th, I was talking about Mark Hamilton on ChatGPT, and here it is right here as follows. I posed this question to ChatGPT. What is Mark Hamilton's Neovia desire to integrate AI and microchips in humans? Now, Mark Hamilton, remember I told you, was about a guy who's I got into his literature back in 2011, 2012, right around that era. And, I was reading that dumbass shit for a while. But now I see in hindsight, the Lord wanted me to go through that. And now here he is having me, through the Spirit, put two and two together in terms of what Mark Hamilton had been talking about the whole time, about trying to establish the New World Edomite order. Because the word Neo, N-E-O, means new. When you do the etymology on the word Neo, it means new. And then V-I-A, which is via, that means path or way. So Mark Hamilton's dystopian desires for the Neovia world, which means a new way world or a new path of the world, is one where they put microchips in people and can digitally control them. Now, this is the question I posed to ChatGPT. What is Mark Hamilton's Neovia desire to integrate AI and microchips in humans? Now, this is ChatGPT. Mind you, I don't own this. Mark Hamilton, the civilizational theorist, author, and founder of the Neotech Institute, proposes the creation of Neovia, which he defines as a new parallel civilization engineered to completely eliminate human suffering, disease, and aging. Within Hamilton's philosophy, the ultimate integration of artificial intelligence and microchips slash brain computer interface into humans serves a singular specific purpose to bypass societal bottlenecks and unlock the supreme power of unhindered human consciousness. Now, that part where he says unhindered human consciousness means like once they start microchipping everybody and having everyone worship him by taking that digital RFID chip willingly, that's when they're going to start showing their ass and showing themselves and letting their horns out and showing themselves to the world for who they really are, which are a bunch of fucking sickos and pedophiles. You already, AKA, a great example is the Pepstein piles, you know? Now, yesterday I did a video and I also posed this question to Chat GPT in reference to like what are companies around the world that have the word Neo in their what microchipping companies or production companies have the name Neo in their products, right? You have Neotech, which is Neo's ID. You have Crosswave Neo. You have YubiKey Neo. These are all RFID chips manufacturing companies. Well, they have something to do with RFID technology. You have related emerging medical tech, the Neo brain chip. You have related, then I posed the question: what country are these places from? What country are these companies in? The Neotech is in Germany. Crosswave Neo is in Finland and Brazil. YubiKey Neo is in the United States and Sweden. The United States has Neotech, and China has the Neo brain chip. All right. Now, you see how you got all these other countries all over the world that have different cultures and different heritages, but yet they're all erecting these digital infrastructures in their societies. And then on top of that fact that they're using the word Neo. So that shows that this right here, Psalms the 83rd chapter, I'm going to start at verse 2. I'm going to start at verse 1. I'm sorry. A song or psalm of Asaph. Keep not thy silence, O God. Hold not thy peace and be not still. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, which is us, the Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation. Now that's why we have those bywords like so-called black, so-called Puerto Rican, so-called Native American, so-called Seminole Indian, so-called Brazilian, so-called Mexican. So those are bywords. They're trying to cut us off from knowing who we are by giving us those names. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. They have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. So even though they have different ways of life all over the world in these different countries, they have the elite families of each of these 17 heathen nations have consulted together with one consent, which is they are confederate against thee, and that's against the Most High. All right. And here's some of the people: the tabernacles of Edom, which are the so-called white people, and the Ishmaelites, the so-called Arabs, of Moab, the so-called Chinese, and the Hagarenes, which are Hamites, Jebel, which are Hamites, and Ammon, which are the so-called Japanese, and Amalek, which is the 1948ers, which is a tribe of the Edomites. The Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre, those are both Hamites of the Hamite nation. Asher also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot, Salah. So the children of Lot was Moab and Ammon, so-called Chinese and Japanese. So you see these countries that you got Mark Hamilton's Neo Think or Institute, and then I just read all these countries that had these Neo, they had these brain chip manufacturing companies with the name Neo in it. So they're all trying to establish this new Neo-Babylonian Tower of Babel, but it's done through technology. Because you remember here in America, or back during the time of ancient Babylon, the king back then, during the time of trying to establish the Tower of Babel, was Nimrod. Now here in America, pursuant to Psalms 49 and 11, which reads, Let me grab it. I'm sorry. Psalms 49 and 11. It goes as follows. Uh, their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever. That's talking about Esau Edom, beginning with the Rothschilds, the so-called white man. And, you had Jacob Rothschild that just died last year or this century, but he did that Belfer bullshit. The guy, he looked like Mr. Burns off The Simpsons. All right. But they're inward because according to Job 9 and 24, the earth is given to the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, wherein who is he? And one of the ways he's trying to cover the judges, which begins with the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, then his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, then the angels, and then the elect of the nation of Israel. They're trying to cover the faces of the judges with this chip now. It was with just iconoclasm and like bleaching ancient pictures and paintings, but there were so many that they can't cover them all. A great example is if you go to YouTube and look up a meeting between the Russian President Putin and Candace Owens, all right? And look up, and you can also look up black Russian icons, and they got pictures and paintings of the Israelites looking like so-called black people. All right, but Psalms 49 and 11, their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. Now, that part right there, calling their lands after their own names, they do this in a variation of ways. One, I'm talking about the Edomites. They literally have a place, they call them their land, name lands after their biblical name, which they know that they're Edom, right? You have a place here in America called Edom, Texas. Now, in the ancient world, you had a city, a dwelling place of the Edomites called Bozrah, Bozrah. You have a Bozrah here in America in Connecticut. Now, also, another city that the Edomites dwelled in the ancient world was Uz, U-Z. You have a Uz, Kentucky, and a Uz, Texas. Now, another way that they call their lands after their own names is by the name, because Esau is a very he was wiser than Daniel. They know the scriptures and they know symbolically who the Lord likens them unto. Just like in the book of Deuteronomy 28:68, when he said, "And I will bring thee into Egypt again with ships." That was talking about the transatlantic slave trade, where Judah, Benjamin, and Levi was brought over here from Western Asia. And then when Esau got here and dropped them off, he grabbed Reuben and Issachar and Gad, and then took them back over, via that same ship, those ships, and took them to Spain and Portugal. All right. And here in America, you have a place called Egypt, Texas. On the back of the dollar bill, you have the all-seeing eye sitting on top of a pyramid. Okay. But now another thing where they call their lands after their own names is symbolic. Symbolically, they know who. They know who they are likened unto in this modern time, like Babylon. Like here in America, you have places named Babylon. One example is up in New York, and like I said, the king of Babylon, ancient Babylon, during the time of the Tower of Babel, his name was Nimrod. And here in America, you have a Nimrod in Minnesota, as well as other places. Just Google places in America named Nimrod. Okay. Now, back to what I just saw earlier today. China approved Neo, the world's first commercial brain chip, beating Neuralink to market in 2026. It is a coin-sized implant helping paralyzed patients move again. What China actually approved, Neo, is a brain-sized titanium implant built by Neurical Technology and Tsinghua University. Its 8 sensors rest on the brain's protective membrane and read movement signals. Why it beat Neuralink? Neuralink's chip pierces the brain. Neo's sits atop, lowering surgery risk. That safer design and strong state backing fast-tracked approval while Neuralink stayed in U.S. trials. Yeah, because they had one down in, I believe it was down in Phoenix last year, and then they had one down in Florida, Miami somewhere. What this really means, approved in March 2026 for paralyzed patients aged 18 to 60, one man wrote his name after 6 years. This is medicine, not mind-reading sci-fi yet. But that's the intent, is to be able to try to track and read people's minds, and you can see the possibility of horrors. If this thing has a speaker in it or something like that to that degree, Esau can just sit, wherever he is all over the world, and target somebody with this brain trip and just troll and torture the shit out of them, because it'll probably have a speaker in it, I'm sure, so that they can hear what that person is, what's going on in their environment, as well as be able to talk to them. Reading on, it says, we share major breakthroughs that are happening around the world. And all right, so that's it on the Neo chip. And like I said, this is China's chip, and that's China over there. That's not America. They got different customs, but you see that they're all Confederate. Now back to Mark Hamilton's sadistic thought pattern here. Well, which is prophecy that Esau Edom would really think highly of himself. This is 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. Just bear with me. Chapter 2. I'm gonna start at verse 3. 2 Thessalonians 2 and 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. Now, that's Esau Edom, so-called white man, beginning with the banking families. Who opposeth and exalt, verse 4, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Now, keep that in mind. Now, this is back to Mark Hamilton's sadistic, pretty much fitting the bill of what the Lord was talking about. In terms of Mark Hamilton's vision of having AI and brain chips in human beings to establish his Neovia world dystopia. This is elevating humans to godlike value creators. Hamilton believes that when human consciousness is separated from its true nature by societal hierarchies, human potential shrinks. Neovia leverages embedded cybernetic technology not to replace humanity, but to supercharge it. Merging the human mind with AI via microchip interfaces is designed to give every individual immediate access to the sum of all human knowledge. Meaning, so with these brain chips, they want to be able to read everyone's mind at all times. That's what he's talking about. That's the leverage that they're looking for. That's the freedom that they're looking for. And once they start doing this and making it mandatory on a massive scale, Esau no longer needs to hide, his sadistic ways. He could just act willy-nilly and crazy and show you who he is. And he'll say, if you don't do this, then I'll cut your chip off and you won't be able to buy or sell or do anything. Reading on, it says, this is intended to eliminate mental stagnation, dramatically amplify creative focus, and transform ordinary citizens into self-leading, godlike value creators. So basically, he's saying, like, once they put these brain chips in people, it will transform the ordinary, everyday citizens of the elite class Edomites that run this world into self-leading, godlike value creators, because then they can torture and torment people, man, via talking to them, in those brain chips that they got. All right, so the Most High is not a man that he should lie. This is here, okay. And Lord willing, man, we be of the elect, because we need the Lord in this time, because this devil is coming, man, with this crazy shit, just like the Lord said he would. Eradicating the biomedical bottleneck, Hamilton argues that while humanity successfully creates magnificent breakthroughs, millions of people continue to suffer and die unnecessarily. He blames this on fragmented, heavily regulated, and slow biomedical infrastructure. By integrating advanced computing elements and AI directly into human biology, Neovia aims to radically accelerate data processing. You see what I mean? Neovia aims to radically accelerate data processing, so meaning being able to read people's minds and their pulses and signals. So this enslavement that we are all in is they're trying to convert it into a digital one. And Lord willing, if I'm alive in that day, I will tell them to take a long walk off a short cliff and take that microchip with them. Reading on, it says, target cellular degeneration in real time and deploy immediate cures directly to human bodies without waiting decades for regulatory or bureaucratic approval, which is bullshit. That's the Trojan horse to get people to be like, oh yeah, that doesn't sound half bad. Like, no, it's all bad. Esau's a liar, man. He's a fork-tongued devil. The word devil means deceiver. All right, do the etymology on the word devil, and you'll see it. Achieving biological immortality, a fundamental tenet, a foundational tenet of Hamilton's Neotech philosophy is that physical death and aging are unnatural accidents that humanity has simply been conditioned to accept. The AI connection, he envisions advanced AI systems handling hyper complex biological computations at speeds a natural human brain cannot match. So, they can't live forever because they don't follow the law, statutes, and commandments. Now, when the elect get beamed up in this salvation from Yahushua and what the world calls UFOs, their bodies get changed in that tractor beam before it hits the ships, because the ships are a part of the kingdom of heaven, and they have to be perfected before entering them ships. All right. So they're gonna live, and they're gonna get their the law, statutes, and commandments written in their inward parts. And then because of that fact, and because they live and are governed by the law, statutes, and commandments, they live forever. But Esau's trying to do it on the left hand side, which is he's not gonna be able to do it. The chip connection, reading on, microchips and cellular level transponders implanted in the body are meant to monitor health, manage automated cellular repair, and ultimately reverse aging, helping humans achieve permanent physical immortality, which is bullshit because Mark Hamilton has a website or has a YouTube channel called Mark Hamilton, and you go to that and take one good look at him and tell me, does it look like what he's claiming is working? That motherfucker boy look every goddamn bit of 60, 70 years old. All right. So with that, I just want to do a quick video on that real quick to show that this dude is a forger of, according to Job 13:4, he is a forger of lies and a physician of no value. Because like I said, he's talking about this is going to create immortality. But yet, if you go to his YouTube page and look at this nigga, he looks every bit of tied and toe back and 60 plus years old. So he's forging that lies in the name of health to bring about this digital enslavement. And he's a physician of no value. And it proves that because of the way he looks. He's old. All right. The nigga, he aged like milk. Well, what Edomite doesn't. Anyways, verse 4 or part 4 of this chat GPT question. In traditional society, institutions control the flow of information, medical care, and financial leverage. You see there? So now you see where it's going. They want to be able to load up one's digital portfolio, living portfolio on these chips. By embedding advanced AI and communication tech directly inside the human mind and body, Hamilton believes individuals will become entirely self-sufficient. Yeah, they'll become entirely self-sufficient. The humans that he's talking about that will become, or the individuals that he's talking about that will become entirely self-sufficient, is the elites that run this world, and they can be self-sufficient in cutting people off from society if those people do not submit to their sadistic demands. All right, they can just cut off their chip, or they can torture them with that chip. You know what I mean? And fuck this shit up. Reading on, it says this technological self-sovereignty effectively strips in external authorities. So that means they will self-prescribe themselves as like godlike power because you just submitted and willingly took that chip. So now they're sovereign from having to, treat those who take that chip with dignity or respect. Okay, that gets thrown out the window once people willingly take this microchip. This technological self-sovereignty effectively strips external authorities, governments, and restrictive hierarchies of their power. And that's talking about people. It's talking about the people who was the government who govern themselves. You know what I mean? So Esau's trying to replace that. And once the people willingly take the chip, that goes out the window, which is true. It does. It's the mark of the beast. Establishing Neovia's ultimate rule. See there, a society built purely on voluntary cooperation and the absolute protection of individual freedom. And what that means, and the absolute protection of individual freedom, is having the Edomites be able to freely rule over people who take the mark of the beast willingly, and can do whatever they want to them. If you're exploring his literature, let me know if you'd like to look deeper into his specific concept of the prime law. That's another good one that you guys need to look at. That has 1984 written all over it, written by George Orwell. So with that, I just want to do a quick hit on this one. Lord willing, this was edifying to you as it is to me, because the Lord he's the Most High is for real, and this is happening. Okay, the YouTube channels of the 4 elder apostles of GMS are as follows. Elder Apostle Tahar is What is the 666 Mark II GMS Truth. Elder Apostle Gabar is Daily Edification 4. Elder Apostle Rakal is GMS Keep Pushing On. On his page, you're going to go to the live section of his page because that's how the Lord through the Spirit has him firing off and making new videos. But that does not take away from all the other content on his YouTube channel because, like I read earlier in Revelation 19 and 10, the spirit of Yahweh is the spirit of prophecy. So all the videos on and content on that elder's page is edifying. That same thing, edifying means to build up, to help build up our understanding of what's going on out here. And that same concept applies to, last but certainly not least, Elder Apostle Orion Lob, whose channel is GMS Info Channel 12. The name of my page is, it's a long title. The name of my page is The MOTB is Here Too and Disclosure of the Wicked. All right. Lord willing, this was edifying and I will be able to do this again. But for now, I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory to my power, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah Kwadash. Double honors to the elders, apostles, and bishops of Great Millstone who still teach and root well. Peace and salutations to the elect scattered amongst the 4 corners of the earth. Hold on. Lord willing, we will all endure to the end. And I'll be able to do this again, Lord willing. But for now, I'm going to say Shalom.